the other ones, I might as well do it for this. Session 3, Episode 3, Week 3, Part 3. That's a lot of threes. And we're joining, once again, Kresic, Andromeda, Rakust, and Lyn, the mighty Warriors 4, as they return empty-handed from Fort Vigilance, with nothing but regret and sorrow in their hearts, the sea mist rising around them on all sides. They've left the sandy rocks behind them, and are sullenly marching back in the direction of Hayden, when Andromeda, you hear a rough scrabbling and scratching in the mist, and you know that you are not the only thing that moves. Could you roll a d6, please?
What was that, sorry?
Could you please roll a d6?
D6.
Yep, just a nice d6.
Just a moment.
Excellent. So, you hear a noise coming from the mist that surrounds you. The sound of, like, something moving in the well, fog.
In the fog, we can't see anything.
As you peer into the fog, you think you can see a couple of figures. Other travellers, perhaps, but as you look, the fog gets thicker and thinner, and it's quite hard to make them out. You can tell which direction they are in, though.
Okay. Should we approach them with caution? Should we...
Have they noticed us? Can we tell if they're towards the direction they're looking?
As you look, Marcus, you can't even make them out. You look into the mist, and all you see is swirling, even when Andromeda points them out, it's nope, nothing.
Alright.
They could be people from the Dagons, maybe.
Let's try to approach carefully, I guess.
Okay.
Or should we announce our presence?
Perhaps when we get closer.
To the point we can make what's in front of it, I guess. Alright.
Okay. So, you begin walking towards these figures, and as you begin walking towards them, you can clearly tell they look like humans. You guess you can see 2 legs, a head, the vague shape of a person emerging from the fog. And as you walk towards them, and you all kind of get sight of them, you can see that they have noticed you, and they're walking towards you as well. There are 2 of them, a pair, and they're just kind of walking towards you out of the fog. Scarlet, Andromeda is the first to notice. You can see them walking towards you, and you notice first the outline of a bow, and then you the fog clears for a second, and you get the first clear look at one of their faces. And instead of human features, as you were expecting to see, you just see this skull with tattered flesh hanging from it. And it looks at you across the waning fog, and you see dull red glow in both the empty sockets. And everyone will need to roll initiative in a second. So, just hop you all over to somewhere where you can do a bit of fighting. Opa-dopa-doo. They are hostile. This is immediately apparent.
Yeah.
Kind of guessed.
Nah, man. They're just friendly. They just want to say hi. Lyn and... Okay, so if you could all just roll a d20 plus your dexterity for initiatives. Because I'm poopy and I have no tokens for you all, you're just going to have little sheeples. Little figures. Let's see.
1d20 plus, did you say dex?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's just an initiative roll. Yeah. Okay. Do. Okay, so where are we at? Can stream see stuff? Okay, that's right. And let's see, we go. Acoust.
Is my webcam
Andromeda.
frozen? Oh no,
Yeah.
it's good now. Sorry.
And Kresic, of course. Skullman 1. Skullman 2. Okay. Rakust is a 19. Andromeda 13. Lynn.
5.
Kresic
5.
5. Andromeda, is your dexterity +1? So 12 or 13.
13.
Okay, so that should be a 14 for you then.
Yeah.
+1. And 7 and 4 for the enemies. Okay, so as the fog clears for a bit, you get a good look at these humans, and you can clearly see that they're not alive. They're a loose collection of bones that's held together by malice. And you can see dull red glows in their eyes, and they have rusted blades and bows. Tatters of cloth hang at them, and you can see bits of sand on them, and a crab crawls out of one of their empty sockets and runs up its head. And yeah, so it's foggy, and you're on pretty open ground. As long as you're more than 5 feet away from them, you have light cover due to the fog. But so do they. Okay, so what do you want to do? Rakust, you're first.
All right, so I'm going in because I can't control my name, so I'm
That's
expecting
okay. If you
to do
just
that.
draw an arrow from your name.
So
where
I
you wanna
can
go.
move 25 feet if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I can
That
move
is
25
correct,
feet. So I'll move around here.
Boop.
Yeah, and keep a sword and warhammer ready in case they get in range.
Okay, so are you wanting to take the ready action to make an attack as soon as one of them gets within melee, or are you going to use the dodge action to be
The dodge
defensive?
the dodge action, since we noticed that one of them has a bow.
They both have bows and
Oh,
swords.
so I'll take the dodge one.
Okay, cool. So they have disadvantage against you, and you have light cover due to the fog. Andromeda? Boop. Do you want to take your turn?
I don't know what to do.
Probably best just to run up. Run up. You can move 30 feet.
You're all humans except for
Yeah.
Rakust, so yeah, all of you can move 30 feet standard. You can take the dash action as an action on your turn to move again. You can also attack. If any of you have ranged weapons, you could use them, and so on and so forth. The dodge is also an action that you can take on your turn. Gives
Dodge
attackers
would be-
against you disadvantage, which means they roll twice and pick the lowest.
Okay.
And that doesn't necessarily have to be that you dodging, it could be you standing with your shield ready.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Do you want to move up with Rakust or stay behind him?
I'll stay behind him.
Okay. So, next up we have Skullman 1. Skullman 1 is going to shamble a bit forward. Boop, boop, boop. And fire his bow at Rakust. So Rakust, you see this skeleton just move closer to you and fire off an arrow from the fog. Your armor is what,
18, 16 plus
18?
my shield.
Cool. So it'll be 20 versus this attack because of the fog, and there is disadvantage. So it rolls twice and picks the lowest, and there we go. Come on, double criticals! So yeah, It like sails out of the fog and slams against your shield, and just you see the fragile arrow just shatter and peel apart. Kresic?
I guess. I guess I'll have my shield on at this point, and I'll move up. I think I'll move up by Rakusts, like probably here.
Okie dokes. And are you taking the dodge action as well? Okay. So, Lynn, what do you do?
I move up here.
Cool. And are you dashing forward to get into the fight?
No, I'll keep my eye on my part members and see if they need any help.
Okay, so do you want to take the dodge action as well?
Sure.
Go for it. Why not? Okay, the second Skelly man also moves up and fires an arrow at Lynn. Disadvantage for dodge, +2 for fog, and Lynn, you have a whopping armor of 18 as well. Bunch of fighters in chainmail with shields. Yeah, this arrow like sails out of the fog, and I'm not even sure it was aiming at you because it just like hits the dirt beside you. Rakust, it's back to you.
All right. So let me just check. Yeah, I'm getting in range of skull one.
Ah, so you like charge out of the fog, and you see this shambling mass of bone, tattered flesh hangs off it, and you can see sand everywhere, and like little sea urchins are sprouting on its vertebrae.
And I'm gonna attack him with my warhammer.
You squish him, and he dies immediately. So you slam your warhammer into him, and it explodes. Bones fly in all directions, its skull shatters, its rib cage breaks, and there's just this like salty smell that rises off it. Like you've slammed your mace into some sort of shell or something. It's over. Not even a match for your dwarven ferocity. Boop boop. Andromeda, what you do?
I think I'll move up closer. Dodge.
Okay, draw an arrow to where you want to go. With if you click the ruler, it'll allow you to drag and draw. Yep.
So you move, yeah, up to 30.
So where do you want to end up?
About the back.
Cool. And you take the dodge action. Okie dokes. Next up is Skullman 1, who is very much in pieces, but Kresic, what you do?
I think noticing how like easy Rakus just destroyed that guy. I think Kresic like puts his shield on his back and takes out his greatsword.
You're just like these things. Not even a challenge, man.
Yeah,
Let's get
exactly.
some practice in.
And yep, I guess I'll charge right up.
Did you let out a war cry as you run up, or is it just like the clanking of metal armor?
Yeah, I think it's like, you know, he's not that worked up yet.
Okay, so it's just clunk, 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 clunk. Make an attack.
Okay, my greatsword.
So you like clunk, 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 clunk out of the mist, and you swing, and your sword just lands, hitting dirt. And you look to your left, and about 5 feet from where you thought you were attacking is the actual skeleton. It's just standing there like a little hermit crab crawling around inside its desiccated rib cage. Lynn, what'd you do?
Seeing that, I move forward and take a swing.
Okay, go for it. So yeah, same thing. You slam your warhammer into this skeleton, and it just like impacts. And for a moment, it looks like it gives no care in the world, and then fractures just spread out across its entire body, and it just like blows apart, like you know in a funny anime where they punch and then there's a couple seconds delay, and then and it just collapses in dust. And as you stand, take stock of the situation and look around, you realise that your enemies are easily dispatched in short order. You now stand alone. What do you do?
So, Kresic, you know gods and stuff. is there anything we should do with things that were dead and aren't dead anymore and then are dead again?
I guess I'll roll religion. Obviously, I don't say that, but
Yeah.
I'll see if I
So,
actually
so
do.
in character, what do? Do you like contemplative frown as your fist meets your
Yeah,
chin?
I think he probably gets his like holy symbol and like moves it about in his hand a little bit and like thinks, and then consults his knowledge on such things.
Okay. So you know that with the undead, something that has died and has risen again, especially something that has risen again to seek vengeance and blood of the living, must be buried at least 6 feet deep in solid ground. And you know that their head must be at the top, and they must have their bones. Although in a pinch, you know that it can just be the skull, and the femurs, the ribs, the pelvis, and the upper arm bones.
I destroyed the skull. What did I do?
And you know that following the burial, a short prayer should be said, and the fresh blood of those still living should be shed upon it, like cut across the palm onto the open grave before it's filled with soil.
I got a shovel if you want to bury them.
So, like, as you consult your faith, what do you say, Kresic?
He probably thinks, and he's like, we must, have, and he goes, we have to bury them, otherwise they'll just, and he like looks almost like disgusted, and he's like, they'll just crawl back up
Oh,
6
all
feet.
right.
Did they have anything on them?
The tattered remains of clothing, sword that you wouldn't call fit to be a dwarven nail picker. And they had like tattered remains of wooden bucklers. The only interesting thing on them is like urchins and little crabs that are quickly scurrying away northeast in the directions of the sandy shore.
We know which direction they came from, right?
No, like
Oh, okay.
you just saw them. They were northeast from you when you spotted them, however.
All right.
You could look around for tracks. That's definitely something you could do.
Okay. So let's bury them, I guess. No?
Yeah.
I got a shovel, so
So does one of you have a shovel? Do two of you have a shovel?
Let's have a look.
Is one of you going to use the shovel, then take it in turns with the other? What's the shoveling situation here? Need to know.
Can shovel together.
yeah, let's take turns shoveling, I guess.
Yeah.
Do we need to make a grave for each corpse, or can we put both on one grave?
They can
With
probably
your
share.
knowledge, religion check, Kresic, you don't know of any special need to bury them separately. Just that they need to be buried at least 6 feet under, and they need to be spoken and bled over.
Alright. So he probably just recommends just like digging one hole and just like tossing them in. Well, not tossing them in, placing them in, but you know.
Also, your religion check. You know that the skull has to be at the top of the body, but I mean, where the rest of the bones end up isn't so problematic.
Makes sense.
So, like, you could have a foot bone right underneath the skull. Doesn't matter that much.
Alright.
So we're taking turns shoveling, I guess.
Okay, so could either Carl Kresic or Warlako Rakust roll an athletics check with advantage?
You're rolling?
Either? Yeah, I'll roll. That
Yeah,
makes
go ahead.
makes sense. Athletics check with advantage.
Cool.
There we go.
And could you roll a d6 times 10 divided by 5?
1d6 times 10.
I mean, you can just times it by 2 if you want.
Yeah.
Same. Okay, yeah. So, like, you very quickly managed to, like, dig up the ground. There's not any roots, there's no large trees or plants. It's quite dry and kind of easy to shovel out, so close to the sandy shore. And you quickly, 12 minutes later, you've dug this big pit, tossed the bones in, gathered up what loose remains of one of the skulls remains and the other solid skull, put them down at the top of the thing, and Kresic, it's back to you. Like, they're in there now. What do you do?
Yep. Do
Bit
I
of
know
sweat
if
on your brow. Maybe like one solitary bead.
do they need to be bled on directly to the bones?
You know that you need to speak the holy words over them. Then it's into the open grave, not necessarily onto the bones, but into the grave. The blood of the still yet living.
Okay. So he, like after he's buried them, wipes his brow, drops the shovel. He takes out like holds his holy symbol in like one hand by like the string that usually goes around his neck, and I think he opens his prayer book, and he finds some sort of like common like a funeral like
Prayer.
like
Something
the
you say over the dead.
yeah, something that is respectful and nice, and
So do you keep it brief, or do you go into a great sermon?
he's like speaks of how like though they they weren't buried correctly during life, now they're reuniting with the spirit world, and they can finally have peace. And I think he stresses that like even though they attacked us, he forgives them, and justice has been served, and they're free to do as they wish, to move on. And then he like, do I actually have a knife? Or
I can assume that you have a knife. Maybe not a dagger if you don't have one on your sheet, but a knife certainly. Else, what would you eat with?
Yeah, it's true.
Or you can just, get out your greatsword and just draw your hand across it.
Just take off my entire hand.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah, I'm sure that won't do anything. But yeah, and he'll. I think, does it have to, like, does he know if it can just be one person or if it has to be everyone?
As far as you know, it doesn't matter. It's just the blood of the yet still living.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you'd rolled higher, but
Yeah. So he like slits his hand and like squeezes it into like the open grave, and then just like gets back to covering it with dirt.
So there's like maybe a second or two where you all feel very profound about having given these undead a proper burial, and then the dirt goes back over the head, and you haven't lost much travel time. You've been maybe a minute or two for the fight, and various rummaging through bones to check for loot afterwards. 12 minutes for the burial, minute or two for the thing. Nothing really that'll impact your walk. Kresic, you wrap a twine around your hand or something and press on?
Yeah, I assume he knows.
Okay,
First aid.
we return to Kresic 2 months
Someone knows
later.
how
He
to
dies
not-
from sepsis.
Question.
Okay, so we can hop back to travel then, I guess. I mean, nothing else going on here. Nothing suspicious at all. So, oh god, why is it? It needs to stop to. No, not there. Where were you? No,
At
the
hill, I
right
think.
there.
No, one of those, I think.
Oh dear. Hang on, let's see. Where is the stream centered on? Okay, it's that square. Cool. The hand of God teleports you instead of focusing the screen, and you all feel very, very disconcerted by the fact that you are being shuffled around the map. So, you're still in hour 4 of your march. You've got 2 hexes left for the day. You're traveling by survival. You have 2 travel actions left. You used 1 to navigate. You know that Haven's about half a day now to the southwest. So, what's the plan?
So I asked Kresic if these undead were motivated by vengeance or were they controlled by somebody or something. And Would he know that and answer me?
Would that'd be related to my last religion check, right?
With the last religion check, you know that undead spring forth by vile magics and improper burials, and those who have deeds in life that they are bound by. But which or what applies to the current situation, you have no clue.
Yeah, Kresic probably says something to that effect. It's like could be foul magic. Perhaps they just never met their end correctly. Maybe they held promises they couldn't keep.
Should we find out where they came from and see if there's any more?
If there were only two, then I wouldn't. I don't expect they would wander far. If there was a bigger group, they would be around.
Can we look for tracks?
Yeah, give me a perception test.
Perception.
With,
Not survival.
I would say disadvantage because of the fog, but you're
Yeah.
you're just walking along and looking at the ground. Yeah, give me a perception with disadvantage. What's that saying? 11. Yeah, you can see the tracks left by these creatures. They've come from the rocky waste to the northeast.
At least
You
that's
feel
where we
reasonably
came from.
confident that you could follow the tracks, but you're not sure for how long.
Want to give it a try, or should we go back to Haven?
I don't
think
know.
they're going to lead us to the wagon.
Yeah, I was thinking they might be from the wagon if something happened. Because we don't have any idea about the wagon. We just don't know that it isn't in the fort. So
So let's follow the tracks then.
I guess did Carl disconnect?
I think he got a knock at his door.
I think he might just have turned off his video and muted himself because he's answering the door. Should be okay. He'll be back in a sec. So, what do the rest of you think? The sound of silence?
I don't think anyone has any other opinion than following the tracks for a bit, or
Okay.
We might as well. We went into the cave. We might as well follow these tracks.
yeah.
Yeah,
Why
I
not?
don't see why not. Okay.
So northeast.
So, Lynn, could you give me a
Yep.
perception test, please? Again, to follow.
Another one.
Yeah, but not with a disadvantage this time. Just normal.
Okay.
Normal perception. Okay. So, move yourself northeast. Hey, Carl. We're following the tracks.
I can't seem to move it. I just get. Or have I?
There you go.
Oh wait. Maybe I'm pressing the wrong things.
I moved it for you. There you go.
Okay. Thank you.
So, you move back into the sandy waste, and you quickly lose track of the tracks. Haha, so funny. The sand is blowing gently in the still wind, and you can't see where they've gone. You know they definitely came from this direction, but now that you're here, you can't follow the tracks any further.
The
They
sand
quickly
has
seem to disappear.
erased the tracks. Okay, so let's go on then.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
So you spend a couple hours traveling northeast, and then you spend a couple more hours traveling back southwest, and before long the night is beginning to draw. The thick, heavy mist is still clouding the sky, and as the sun sets, the entire mist is like coloured this very vibrant hue of purple and red as the sun sinks below the horizon. Could you roll a d100, please? Okey-dokes. And night begins to draw to a close with nothing going on. Do you want to spend one of your travel actions to make safe to camp?
Nah.
Okay, roll another d100. Okay, so you settle down to have a nice rest, and the night begins to pass uneventfully. One watch goes to the next watch, the mist rolls around you, the fog creeps from the hills. And it's been an all very uneventful couple of days. The only thing of major note that happened were the skeleton. Kresic, now might be a good time for another scene of inspiration, perhaps drawing on your faith. Has it perhaps been tested by seeing these undead? Is this enough to raise a bit of a harpstrings?
Could do. I think he thinks back to like seeing the undead, and like I think really what like stuck out was like the reading of the prayer book, and it'd be like you see him like if it was like a TV show or something, you'd see like his book and it'd like fade back in to like a much younger Kresic, like probably like maybe like 11 or something, like with a big book in his hands, like clearly the same book but like far less worn, like new and like larger in his hands. He's reading like the first page and it's like a tale of like how the universe began or something, as holy books should start. And along like next to him, like an old man in like robes is like helping him read it. Like he might get stuck on some like the longer words, and the old man like helps him through it and teaches him how to pronounce it. And then in the same sort of like it fades out to him with like a big wooden stick in his hand, like hitting a target that's barely registering his hits, and slowly like being taught like the best way to hold like if it was a real sword. And I think it's more of a a montage showing like him with this old man, like they're both slowly getting older, and the same. I think the main thing that like it would focus on would be the book, as it slowly gets slowly more like ragged, and like pages get slightly ripped, but
and
like
they get smaller and smaller in comparison to Kresic.
Yeah.
I'm liking it.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does this montage end for Kresic? Is
I
it
think
a snap back to the real world with the real book?
I think it'll end to him like probably not that much younger than he is now, and I think it's completely different. Like he's in the like it's like raining, and like he's sat in some wet mud. He has like a cloak, like a tattered cloak around him. His hair's much longer. He has like cuts and bruises, and he goes, and you see it as he like reads that first page, and then it like snaps back to like the real world, and he's like on that first page again.
Okay. So does anyone have a question that you can either ask Kresic, the character, as he's staring at his book, or Carl, the player? And you can ask this out of character, as the players. Someone want to know more about this, perhaps. And don't be shy; it gives you inspiration. Inspiration is good.
I still have one.
Anyone? Cricket's chirp. Okay, Carl. So I think for you, that's inspiration for you, and none for anyone else. Maybe inspiration for the GM. I'll use it for a monster. Okay, so the sun dawns and it's still foggy. This persistent fog just isn't shaking. It's risen out of the desert sand, haha, filled the air with this humid, like sea saltiness, and it's now the 17th of January in the year of the glorious empire. And The sun greets you with a orange haze as you break camp and prepare to set forth, and hopefully find something to do. But probably not.
Okay, let's use another travel action and try for see if we can find something to eat.
Shouldn't we check the weather? See if it changed?
No, the weather changes every 3-day period. Unless you enter into somewhere that has a different weather pattern.
Okay, okay.
Now, for the moment, you're still just on the Uden Plains. The like rocky sand area is not particularly a different weather pattern. It's not like a true desert. It's just like a sandy beach, really. Kind of dry.
Should we mark off a ration?
Yeah, but I think not Lynn, Mary was suggesting using a travel action to find food, in which case you wouldn't have
Yes.
to.
Okay.
Okay, so you use a travel action. You forage around, and those squirrels you heard earlier rustling in the forest, you thought they were wolves, but very tasty. And soon you have squirrels on sticks, maybe with roast hazelnuts in their mouths. Delicious. So, foraging apart, you set off on your day's journey. Is there a direction you're heading? Okay. So as you begin walking to the southwest, you begin to see the familiar farmland that surrounds Haven, and you know that you're pretty close to reaching it. Nothing interesting is happening so far. You're all just yep. Could you roll a d100, please, Lynn, Mary? Cool. And as you reach the edge of Haven, no grisly ghouls springs out from behind a shrubbery to assault you, and you're all very disappointed. I'm sure. Oh no, grisly ghoul!
I thought it was supposed to be dangerous around here.
And so you walk back into Haven, or are you? Is Haven not your destination?
I guess we could tell the general
Yeah.
storekeeper what happened.
Let's.
Okay. So you walk back into Haven, and there's much consternation as the first party of adventurers returns to Haven on session time, and it's a record. The town
Sort of.
begin trumpeting. No, none of that happens. You walk back into the sleepy town of Haven, and it's very nondescript. You walk past the militia patrolling the outskirts. You pass a couple farmers. Perhaps one of them tries to sell you a chicken. Anyone want to buy a chicken for 2 gold? 2 gold for a chicken? No. He gets a bit disappointed and goes, maybe 100 gold. Haha. And maybe unwillingly, you're regaled of a story where someone paid 100 gold for a chicken, but rumor says it wasn't really gold, it was copper, and the man was blind. Oh, such jokes, such jokes. And you walk back into Haven, and you're heading to the general store to talk to Zhao.
Yep, I guess.
Okay, so you walk back into town, you go up to the general store, knock, 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 don't need to knock, it's a shop. You walk in, there's the counter, behind it is Xiaodi. He's big, burly, muscly, tattoos along his arms, leather too black with a bird on its chest. He greets you broadly and smiles and goes, "Ah, you've returned! Then..." and he looks a bit crestfallen when he sees you all kind of coming in. He's like, "Things did not go well."
Not really, no. We reached the fort. They told the wagon wasn't there. They didn't know if it passed or not.
It wasn't there. And you truly have nothing?
We have nothing, but we're alive.
Well, there's that at least, but... And he looks like really... You're torn between disappointment, anger, and reluctance. And he goes... So... Hi. Don't suppose you want to go out there and have another look for it? Maybe you'll find it. Yeah, maybe you will. And he smiles. Maybe you missed it on the road. Are
Maybe.
you sure your eyesight is as keen as you claimed? And he smiles broadly.
You seem very confident that it's close by.
You say
How
it
do you
wasn't
know
at
it even
Fort
arrived?
Vigilance. Say that again?
I say, how do you know it even arrived at the fort?
And he goes, it's... And he looks at the calendar and goes, it's 13 days late now. That's nearly 2 weeks. Be unheard of it for it not to reach the fort. What would stop it from reaching the fort?
Maybe it's no longer on the road.
You think that my wagon sprouted wheels? You're funny. You're funny. That's funny. And he fidgets a bit and he goes, but really,
Do wagons not usually have wheels?
wings. Did I say wheels? Oh god. And he like puts his hand like on his face and rubs his nose and like, So you went to Fort Vigilance and it wasn't there.
No.
Nope.
And we travelled along the road. We travelled directly. We travelled to Fort Vigilance along the road, and we came straight back, the most direct route we could.
And no sign of it? No sign of it at all?
None.
And he's like, well, thank you, I guess. Anything else I can do for you?
Pay us for our trouble.
Say that again.
Pay us for our trouble.
And again, you see that look of deep sorrow and reluctance. And he's like, "Hey, you found nothing." And what did I write on that note? And he like, you see him like pull out a copy of the thing that he posted up on the board. And he goes, "I'm offering 25 any man that travels to Fort." You did go to Fort Vigilance, right?
Yes.
And you did
Aye.
inquire as to its whereabouts, right?
If you
Yes.
ask
Yes.
them, I'm sure they'll remember.
They took our names
He
and everything.
grumbles quite heavily. And he goes, "I am a man of my word, if nothing more." And like, reaches in and counts out 25 golden imperials, puts them on the counter, and looks at you straight in the eyes and goes, "And you're not lying to me. You did actually go there."
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And he looks at you and he's looking for something, but he sees nothing, and he just gives you the money. So, 25 gold coins.
Divided by 4.
Yeah.
6 gold, 2 silver, and 5 copper pieces for every man among you. He'll quite happily break down the loose change. And when I say quite happily, I don't mean happily, but he will break it down. Or you can just spend it on ale for a round of drinks at the last hope. Regale everyone with your tale. And he seems quite honestly crestfallen that A, he has to pay you for coming back empty, and you haven't found anything. He's just like,
Since I personally feel bad for not finding anything, can I buy rations as some sort of returning his money somehow?
yeah. 5 silver for 1 day's trail rations.
So I want my 10 back. So we wasted 3 rations.
Yeah. 3
So I'd buy.
rations, 1 day on squirrel meat.
So I'd buy the 3 rations that we wasted.
Cool. So
Sounds
give-
good.
Wasted.
He gives you 6 gold, you give him 1 gold and 5 silver, and he accepts your money.
I'll do the same. I think that's a good idea.
So, yep. Okay. I think we should probably take a break now
Alright.
and return for the final hour.
All right.
Okay.
Interesting times.
Okay. Farewell to the stream. See you all in a bit.